So you are all very welcome to this afternoon's webinar. My name is Ailbhe O'Halloran and I am the Programme Lead for the National Training Programme for SNAs, the Certificate in Inclusive Support and Care in Education. So I will be chairing this webinar, and just please note that the webinar is being recorded. So if you look to the top of your screen, you will see that there is a chat function for questions, and if you do have questions, maybe you could pop them into the chat and hopefully we'll answer them during the webinar, but if not, we will come to them at the end, or we'll come back to you later with a response to your question. So we have members of the programme team here. We have Emer Feeney, who is the administrator for the programme. We have our colleague Sarah Cairns, who is online marketing officer. And we're also joined by Ella Cichowska. And Ella is doing sign language for us today. So if you would like to use this feature, could you please go to Ella's photograph, look for her name, and if you right click on Ella's face, you should be able to pin her for yourself and you will have ISL throughout this webinar. I should also add as well that obviously the transcript of this webinar will be available afterwards for those who so wish it, and also the recording. So just a brief overview of what we'll be looking at this afternoon. So I'm going to give you an overview of the SNA programme. We'll look at the entry requirements and also the application process. This slide highlights the key partners involved in the National Training Programme for SNAs. So Atlantic Technological University, or ATU as we refer to ourselves, is the programme provider. And we work very closely alongside two key national bodies who I'm sure you're familiar with. We have the National Council for Special Education, the NCSE, and the Department of Education and Youth, or the DEY. And the department funds the programme and we work in collaboration with the NCSE with some of the delivery of the programme material. Just to give you some context on the programme, an open tender for the National Training Programme was issued by the NCSE in 2024, and it was for this fully funded programme for SNAs. And this was the second tendering call for the programme. The first occurred in 2019, and another university delivered the programme for the last number of years. So we were successful in the second tender, and we were informed that we were going to be running the programme from September 2025. So we have just completed the first, let's say, year of this programme. And it is one that is designed on the foundations of the previous iteration of the programme. And there's a couple of additions to it, which I will refer to fairly shortly. So just to give you some context, ATU St Angela's has a very well-established reputation in the provision of professional learning for SNAs, post-primary initial teacher education and postgraduate teacher education for primary, post-primary and special ed teachers. We have provided training for SNAs for over 20 years through a level 7 cert programme, and to date over 2,000 people have received a St Angela's SNA qualification. We have been very proud to be involved in the training of SNAs, and we work consistently very, very hard to assure its quality every single year. We know the importance of the SNA role in schools. It's invaluable. You assist teachers in supporting children and young people with significant care needs in primary, post-primary and special schools. And you as SNAs are integral to the matrix of people and individuals and professionals that supports young people to make them independent so they can transition successfully to adult life. I'm going to move on now to an overview of the SNA programme. So you'll see here on the first box in front of you that it's referred to as a Level 6 Special Purpose Award. And the special purpose means that it's been designed for one specific job or role, and it is valued at 30 ECTs. The programme is part-time, and it's delivered over one academic year, which is 10 months in duration. So it actually begins in September, usually fairly early on, the first week in September, and it will run to kind of mid-June. And when we say runs to mid-June, around this time now, next year, if you're on the programme, you will have completed all your assignments and you're kind of waiting for final exam results. And usually final results come out around the mid of June, 15th or 16th of June. So the programme consists of 6 modules, and each module runs for 4-week duration. And every week there is 1 hour online live webinar on a Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. That is recorded, and obviously transcripts available at the end of the session, and it's all made available to students through our virtually learning environment, which we call Moodle. In addition to that, every week you'll maybe have an hour or an hour and a half of a recorded lecture. And sometimes we break that up maybe into 30 minutes on one topic and 30 minutes on another topic. But the kind of minimum that you would have will be an additional hour of a recorded lecture that you access in your own time. In addition, we have 3 in-person practical training sessions. And this is one of the new features of this programme because that did not exist in the previous iteration of the programme. So this is an opportunity for SNAs to come together. You'll have a 4-hour session, 9:30 to 1:30 on a Saturday morning, and we place the sessions in 5 different geographical locations. So this particular year, we had seminars in Sligo, Dublin, Athlone, Cork, and Waterford. And one of these sessions, as I will refer to shortly, is a mandatory session, but we'll discuss that in a couple of minutes. Okay, so just moving on, just to give you a very broad overview of the modules. The very first module is on inclusive education for students with additional needs or special educational needs, whichever term you use. So this is quite a broad introduction, and it's also foundational. It's very important to have an understanding of inclusion before you begin the programme. Our module 2 is language and communication. Our module 3 is designed and delivered completely by the Department of Nursing, Health Sciences and Disability Studies. So this module is the one that is aligned with one of the in-person seminars, which is Seminar 2. And our Seminar 2 is mandatory, so it means that you do have to attend this one in order to exit from the programme. Module 4 is social and emotional development, and this was newly developed for the current programme. It wasn't available in the previous iteration of the programme. Module 5, which is always extremely popular, is supporting students with autism. And Module 6 is personal and professional competencies as an SNA. And this is an update really of the previous iteration of the programme. As I mentioned, all of our modules have been designed and delivered by subject matter experts from the Department of Education and also the Department of Nursing, Health Sciences and Disability Studies. In addition, we have external experts. Because we have such a close collaborative relationship with NCSE, we have members of the NCSE team deliver for us. So, for example, we would have a session from the visiting teacher service, let's say for deaf, hard of hearing, which is a fantastic opportunity for SNAs to get a very broad overview of what that role would be. And you also may have a relationship with the visiting teacher service anyway, if you're supporting a child who may be blind or have visual loss, or a child who is deaf, hard hearing. We also have members of the autism team, the sensory team, including OTs, SLTs. We've other outside facilitators that aren't connected to the NCSE. We have the education officer from Down Syndrome Ireland, education officers from COG, who's the Council for Gaeltacht Education and Irish Medium Education, because we do have a number of SNAs on the programme who are working in Irish speaking schools, So we do need to support you as well. So I suppose really you're probably asking the question, what will I gain from this program? Well, we hope that you're going to gain a wide range of valuable outcomes that are going to support you professionally, but also personally. You will develop knowledge and understanding of the SNA role and special educational needs, alongside practical skills that can be applied in schools when supporting students with SEN. We hope that you'll also broaden your insight and perspective, maybe helping you to be better understand the strengths and the needs of children and young people with special educational needs, so that you can respond effectively. As you progress, we hope that you will build confidence in your abilities and strengthen your personal and professional competency. In addition, because the programme offers opportunities to connect with others through the seminars and our webinars and our breakout rooms, you will develop a strong network of SNA professionals, while also forming very meaningful friendships that can support you throughout your career. So we have high hopes for what you can gain from this programme. So just let's look for a moment at who can apply. So obviously, if you're working in an SNA position, you can apply for the programme. But also if you've an interest in the area but are not currently working as an SNA. If you are not working as an SNA, a fee applies and a payment plan is obviously available as well. So if you look at our slides here, and if you clicked on fees and funding box at the very bottom, you could click in there and you'll be able to access information on how to pay fees in ATU. So we might focus for a couple of minutes on the application process for those in SNA positions. So at the time of application, you should be an SNA who is employed in any capacity. It might be part-time, you might be in a substitute role, replacing a maternity leave, or in for somebody who's maybe on sick leave or parental leave. It could be full-time capacity as an SNA. You might be in a primary school, a post-primary school, a special school, or a special class. You do not have to be a permanent SNA. As I said, you could be in a part-time position. You should be able, with your application, to provide a school roll number, because this is how the department funds you to complete the programme. And you should be able to supply a completed copy of the Principal's Declaration. And the Principal's Declaration is this form. This form is something that you need to download from our website, print it off, hand it to your principal and ask them to complete it on your behalf. And then you take a photograph of it and you upload it along with your application. The form itself is not very complex. There's just a couple of little steps that you have to go through to get it to become part of your application form. There may be a number of SNAs in your school who will be requesting that a principal completes this form, and that's perfectly acceptable. So funding is not restricted to a number of SNAs within a school. So more than one SNA can complete the programme. And saying that, quite a number of SNAs from this year programme all completed the programme with colleagues from their own schools. So that in itself was extremely supportive. So if you are not working as an SNA and have an interest in the area or in the field, to be eligible, you need to meet one of these 3 criteria. So you'll have passed your Leaving Cert with at least 5 subjects at grade D or higher, including maths and either English or Irish, depending on your language. Or you have a level 5 qualification that you've completed already, National Framework of Qualifications. Or you are a mature applicant, meaning you're 23 years old or older by January the 1st of the year. So when you go in to complete your application, this will be made very clear to you. So if you're interested in becoming an SNA and you meet one of these criteria, you can apply. So this is the application process, and our applications have been open since Monday, the 23rd of March. And we have seen a surge in applications recently because I suppose quite a number of you would, let's say, know your status, or maybe some of you are already now thinking about a career change or a move for September. So you're looking forward, I suppose, really, and you're trying to get yourself organised. So we've had a surge in applications. So I probably urge you to apply as soon as you can. Some of you who are working in schools may have got a mail shot as well. So an advertisement has come through your schools. So maybe check in with your principal to see, do they have it sitting on their desk if it has not been posted in your school staff room. So what you do is you go to the link as you see it here, Inclusive Support and Care and Education for SNAs. You click into that and you will be brought into our programme page. There are 3 steps to the application process, and I'm just going to go through those very briefly now. So step 1 is just go onto the website and review the application process on the website. So take a scan through it. And probably it's worthwhile then to download the principal's declaration form so that you can print it off. If you're, let's say, doing this from home and you don't have printing facilities, maybe email it to yourself and print it off when you're in work. And the next thing that you do is you prepare your documents. So take your form, bring it to your school principal and ask them to sign it. And sometimes that's handy to try and get that done as soon as you possibly can, rather being left with the principal for too long, because you know yourself, some things can disappear when they go into a principal's office because they are so busy. So once the principal has returned the declaration form to you, scan it on your printer or photograph it and upload this, but just make sure the principal's signature is on it and the school roll number. So just double check it yourself. And then you're ready to complete the application form. So obviously for those who are not working as SNA, you can proceed ahead with your application form, but you may have to gather a couple of documents as well in terms of your qualifications. Just to give you an idea of who's involved in the programme team. So our head of department is Dr. Anne-Marie Casserly. I am the programme lead. We have our programme administrator, Emer Feeney, who is here. And the email address for the programme is there as well. It's the SNA email address. So we encourage all students to use this. We also have a programme technical officer, which we're very fortunate to have, called Karen Sheehy. Karen could be with us today. She passes on her regards and looking forward to working with you in September. But Karen is there to support all of your technical needs, be it accessing material, trying to log in, trying to get through to the webinars. So we'll explain all of that in September. And Karen is extremely supportive, no more than Emer. We also have, as I said, our subject matter experts from the Department of Education and also the Department of Nursing, Health Science and Disability Studies. We also have a team of external experts, which I referred to earlier, the NCSE, but we also have external lecturers who are currently working within schools as school leaders and teachers, and obviously the education officers from national organisations. And these people make up our team. So there's quite a large cohort of people, approximately about 25. We also have a research assistant, Dr. Aoife Crummy, and Aoife works full-time on a research project that is aligned with the programme. I'm just going to give you a brief introduction to that. I'm making you aware of this now because we'll be looking for your perspective on the programme in September. We'll be asking that you complete an online questionnaire. And then at the end of the programme, we'll be asking that you complete a post-programme questionnaire. and it is Aoife Cromie who is involved in that research study. So you'll be hearing from Aoife Cromie as well for the duration of the programme also. Okay, so I'm just going to draw your attention to where you can find further information. So if you click on the link here, it'll bring you directly into our page. Or if you have a phone handy, you might be able to scan the QR code and it'll bring you straight into this now. And obviously, if you've got a very specific question, you can email me or email Emer. Either of us are available for any questions that you may have. So that is just a very brief overview of the programme. So we might look into the chat box and the Q&As. So I see that we have one question here, and thanks for that question, Geraldine. Is it okay to participate if you've already completed SNA level 6? So if you have completed the SNA level 6 qualification and it's a QQI, yes. But if you've completed the UCD level 6 national programme, that is the NCSE funded programme. So you probably would not get funding for a second year to complete it again. So it's essentially the same programme again. So you might wish to consider maybe looking at another programme at another level. So I might just go to my colleagues there and ask. I don't think there are any other queries coming in.
No, Alva, I can't see any more. Just that one you just answered.
That's great. Thanks very much, Emer.
Oh, there's a question coming in now. What type of assignments are expected, as this is a part-time program on top of a full-time role as an SNA?
Yeah, so what happens is there is an assessment per module, and each module is worth 5 ECTs. So our assessments vary. So for example, we have 2 multiple choice quizzes. So you complete those in 20 minutes. So at the end of a module, you have a 20-minute quiz, it's done. Then our second assignment is you read a case study and respond to questions on the case study. I think our third one is another quiz. Our fourth one is we're back again to completing either a poster or an infographic. And we also have a visual presentation at the end. So we have a variety of assessments that we hopefully would appeal to different types of learners and maybe appeal to you if you some like to be very creative, others like to answer just in the form of a Word document. So we provide as many different opportunities for your response as possible.
Yeah, I think you've answered. There's 2 questions. Is it continuous assessment throughout the year, and is there an exam at the end? But you've just answered that there. There's another question. Hello, I finished working as a substitute SNA at the end of June. Can I still apply for the course in September?
Yeah, so I suppose really if you have got a principal to sign off, so you may be somebody who's working, let's say, with 2 or 3 schools as a sub, and essentially you're working for the whole year, or you might be working with 1 school as a sub on and off throughout the year. So your principal may know that something's going to come up in September, and if they're prepared to sign off on you, absolutely, you can apply for the programme.
I think this is a similar question. Can I apply if I'm subbing as an SNA on a daily basis? No contract. It's not a fixed term or maternity cover, but I'm a transport escort and I sub in a special school every day.
Yes, you can if your principal will sign off for you, absolutely. So I think I see one coming in here as well. Is there presentations in front of people or is the work done and submitted? The work is completed, Siobhan, and submitted. So there is no presentation in front of your peers. You meet your peers during the 3 seminars and it is conversation and discussion, and we're delivering essentially, obviously, on a number of different themes and topics.
Yeah, there's a question there from Thomas. Is the number of participants limited, and what are the chances to get a place on the course if not currently working as an SNA?
Thomas, thanks for that query. I should have mentioned that earlier. And we have a maximum capacity of 900 students because it's an online program. What we do is we prioritise those who are working in an SNA position because they are fully funded, and this is a department request that those who are working in SNA positions would not be denied a position on the programme. So then we would reach out to those who are not working in SNA positions if and when we have places available. So my advice to be will be to apply. So apply, don't be waiting, just go ahead and apply, and we would do our very best to get in touch with everybody fairly quickly to indicate whether they have a place or not. And I suppose Emer keeps a very careful eye on application numbers on a daily basis, and she would have a good sense if we do have places available. So I would say that anybody who applied who was not working in an SNA position last year did get offered a place.
No more questions that I can see, Ailbhe.
That's great, Emer. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, folks, I am conscious of the time, and I would probably say to you, if you do have questions, you know who to come to. Either myself or Emer are very happy to answer your questions. Also, I would just like to say at this point, thank you very much to my colleagues, to Sarah and Emer, and also to Ella. It was great to have Ella here, and I appreciate your time on a Thursday.